smoking. So medyo just I am in the clinic, so I have no time kasi to go to FEU. So medyo may maririnig kayong konting alingaw or ingay, please forgive me for that. Okay? Alright, so our first topic for this afternoon is tobacco smoking. So we are health professionals. Okay? So you are training to be one. So there are some health issues regarding tobacco. So it has been said by the World Health Organization Director General, he said that doctors, nurses, midwives, dentists, pharmacists, doctors, no? Even psychologists for that matter, and all other professionals dedicated to health can help people change their behavior. They are on the front line of the tobacco epidemic and collectively speak to millions of people. So this is true. We are on the front line. So the role of health professionals in tobacco control. What are we supposed to do, or what are the roles that we play in this particular pandemic? Your World Health Organization said that there are 5 roles for us as primary care physicians. But as far as smoking epidemic is concerned, then we have all these roles to fulfill. And more important, I think, that is very important, is being a role model to our patients. Okay? So health professionals are the most knowledgeable in health matters, and they are expected to be tobacco-free role models. Alright? For the rest of the population. So our patients look up to us, so we should be a role model to them. Professionally respected and popularly revered. Okay? We as doctors can lead the decline of smoking prevalence in general population. So even if you are not yet a doctor, the moment that you wear your white uniform and people see your nameplate that you are a medical student, they would expect something from you. So you need to be a role model. Alright, so however, this is the problem. In many countries, smoking prevalence among health professionals is similar to that of the general population. Okay? So may problema din pala ang mga health professionals when it comes to smoking. So, what is the problem if we smoke? We are less likely to promote smoking cessation, no? And that would damage our image as a doctor. We won't be credible. Okay? As a clinician, all health professionals need to address tobacco dependence as part of their standard of care practice. So it should be part of our practice to screen for smoking. Actually, it is part of the personal social history that we usually ask from our patient. Yes, we ask, but we rarely address the issue. We need to assess exposure also to secondhand smoke and provide information about avoiding all exposure. So yes, we ask if you smoke, but if we do, we usually fail to ask whether there are other persons in the family that smoke. Alright? Because you need to also look at whether your patient is exposed to secondhand smoke. Now, we are also expected to educate our patient, alright, on tobacco control. Both theoretical and practical in health professionals is inadequate. Yun, the problem is, less than 33% of the health profession students have received formal training in patient counseling. Yes, we can educate them in terms of giving them information, but lifestyle-related behaviors kasi is not easy to change. You need more than health ed. You need to do counseling. Okay? Sadly, only 33% of health professionals have received formal training. But the good news is, according to World Health Organization, 90% of students have the desire to receive formal training. Okay? So hopefully that is true with you, no? That's why for the next module on communication skills, your last module for the semester is smoking cessation counseling, particularly the motivational interviewing counseling. Okay, so that's what you're going to learn for the next module. So as a scientist, we are encouraged to do research to find facts and evidence. No? All health professionals should be aware of evidence on effective tobacco control measures. Okay, so we are also being encouraged to lead in talking about getting involved in policy-making process, supporting tobacco control measures at their workplace as well. So especially for those who are company physicians, you need to make sure that the policies on smoking are properly in place and being implemented in the workplace. Since people look up to us, since they also get information from us as experts, right? Then we can be opinion builder. So health professionals have great potential to build opinions in support of tobacco control. Yeah, that's where we matter the most, no? Since uh, physicians usually talagang pinapakinggan eh. So you take advantage of that, okay? We can also be alliance builder. You just have to read on this. But what is important nowadays, I would like to highlight this, no? Watching out for tobacco industry activities, especially in this election season. Health professionals as individuals or associations have a duty to denounce tobacco industry strategies, which may include using public relations to present itself in positive ways. Yan. So using money to fund political events, giving money to various organizations, and employing well-connected lobbyists. So be careful with this as doctors. Some doctors are into politics. Okay, many doctors are into medical missions, no? So be careful with from whom you get the funds to support your activities. Make sure that there will be no strings attached. If possible nga, don't get funds from companies that manufacture or that market as well cigarettes, no? So that there will be a conflict of interest. Okay? We also need to take stand against negative influence of tobacco industry money in many aspects of our society, like refusing to accept funding from tobacco industry. Alright? Why? Because tobacco kills up to half of its users. So as health professionals, as frontliners, we have to say no to tobacco. We need to protect health, reduce poverty, and promote development. Now, why? Because this is the burden of disease as far as tobacco is concerned. Tobacco kills more than 7 million people each year. But out of 7 million, more than 6 million of that is due to direct tobacco use. Okay, but less than a million, a part of that 7 million is due to secondhand smoke. Alright, so even if you do not smoke, but you live with a person who smokes every day, so that you are exposed to it every day of your life, then you would have the same risk as that of the person who smokes. Alright? Now, leading cause of poverty, smoking is a leading cause of poverty. Around 80% of the world's 1.1 billion smokers live in low and middle income countries. So this is very sad because of poverty, you don't have the money anymore, and yet you still have you still prioritize cigarette. No? Kung sino pa yung mahirap, siya pa yung nagsisigarilyo. So it shouldn't be. It contributes to poverty. It leads to poverty. Now, there is also such a thing as green tobacco sickness, which is caused by the nicotine that is absorbed through the skin from the handling of wet tobacco leaves. This is a raw tobacco. Alright? Freshly harvested. Okay? And you can see these children. Actually, this is a family. This is the scenario in the Ilocos region during harvest time. Okay? this is a long stick, no? Diyan itutusok tong mga ano na to, tobacco leaves na to. And then they would put that inside a big pugon or big oven made of clay, no? Made of mud clay. So that's where they're going to cook this or bake the the leaves. So once that's done, then that can be sold na to different companies for manufacturing of the cigarette. Okay? But we have less of these scenarios now in the Ilocos region since there would somehow the consumption of cigarette already somehow have decreased tremendously. Okay? But just to say that there is such a thing as green tobacco sickness. So, itong mga batang to, hindi sila nagsisigarilyo, but they are working without gloves, no? And they get in touch, with all these raw and freshly harvested tobacco leaves, then they are at risk of this green tobacco sickness. Alright? So, yung mga taga-Ilocos, ayan, alam niya yan, nakikita yan. Masarap ganito during harvest time. Pamilya yan, no? Usually, these are the people who do not have their own land to till, no? So, sila yung hinahire ng mga big land owners to do this for them. Okay? So, what about the second-hand smoke? Smoke that fills restaurants, offices, or other enclosed spaces when people burn tobacco products such as cigarette, BDs, and water pipes. When I googled this BDs, this is actually dito yung self-made to like. It's a cigarette that a farmer would bake for himself. Hindi siya filtered. So the tobacco leaves, right? They cut it into pieces, small pieces, and they have this small paper that they can roll, okay, and come up with their own cigarette, unfiltered. We also have that in the Philippines. So, abutan ko yan na ginagawa ng mga farmers sa Ilocos. They don't buy cigarette at all. They make their own cigarette. However, the problem is it's unfiltered. Direct from the pugon, they will make their own cigarette. Okay? So, it is also called environmental tobacco smoke or passive smoking. So, as far as second-hand smoke is concerned, there is no safe level of exposure to second-hand tobacco smoke. Nobody can tell you for how many hours of day would it be safe for you to be exposed. Nobody. There's no such level of safe level of exposure. Okay? So many of us are passive smokers, especially in the offices where there are people who smokes. Okay. What brings about this problem of cigarette smoking? There are more than 4,000 chemicals that have been identified in one cigarette. Alright? At least 250 of these 4,000 chemicals are harmful. And then more than 50 are cancerous. That is according to the World Health Organization. Even if you use the vape, they have the same content. Nag-iba lang yung mode of delivery, but the vape also has nicotine. The problem with the vape is some have flavors, so that it would entice more people to use it. It becomes more addicting because of the pleasurable odor, which is not also correct. That's why it's also it was now banned in malls. Dati nasa mall siya mga yan Ngayon hindi na pwede. Alright? So in adults, secondhand smoke causes serious cardiovascular and respiratory diseases, including coronary heart disease and lung cancer. So you have to remember that cigarette smoking is an independent risk factor for you to develop coronary heart disease. Kaya marami kayong kwento maririnig, no? Healthy athlete, for example, an athlete who undergoes his executive checkup every year and yet suffered from stroke. Why? What's the problem? Seems to be healthy, but there is one denominator that was not checked. and that is cigarette smoking. Yes, at the time of examination, normal siya, pero he continues to smoke. Okay? The problem is, it led to stroke. Pwede ka ring ma-atake dahil lang sa sigarilyo, no? So, in infants, it causes sudden death, and in pregnant women, it causes low birth weight. Alright, so these are some of the cancers that you can think of that is related to cigarette smoking. From head up to here, you have cancer. You can also think of chronic diseases, again from head, actually from head to foot yan, because peripheral artery disease can also be caused by smoking, especially the Raynaud's phenomenon, no? The Berger's disease, those are all related to smoking. So from head to foot, you'll have this chronic disease that can be brought about by smoking. Now, for second-hand smoker, those who are exposed to smoke, for children, they can have this problem. And for adults, we can also have these problems. Okay? So, if you love your loved ones, do not smoke when they are around. Because they can also get the same problem that you may also develop as a smoker. Now, since smoking is really bad to our health, okay, we need to advocate for smoking cessation. And these are the health benefits of smoking cessation. Within 20 minutes, heart rate and blood pressure drops. Alright? Drop. In 12 hours, the carbon monoxide level in your blood would drop to normal. In 2 to 12 weeks, circulation improves and lung function increases. And in 1 to 9 months, coughing and shortness of breath decrease. And in 1 year, your risk for coronary heart disease is about half that of a smoker's. So you see, in 1 year, if you stop smoking, you would already have health benefits. 1 year pa lang yun, ha? Alright. Now, the immediate and long-term health benefits of quitting for all smokers, this is this one. It was just shown in this illustration. Alright? Further, 5 years na non-smoker ka na, your risk of stroke is reduced to that of non-smoker. Okay? 5 to 15 years after quitting. In 10 years, your risk of lung cancer falls to about half that of a smoker. And in 15 years, your risk of coronary heart disease is that of a non-smoker. So at 15 years, pareho na kayo ng non-smoker. Okay, in terms of coronary heart disease. So it really helps. It would really benefit you if you stop smoking. In 20 minutes, meron ng changes sa health mo. How much more if you continue to do so for the rest of your lives, no? So this is the health benefit of smoking cessation. People of all ages who have already developed smoking-related health problems can still benefit from quitting. Alright, so good if you quit without having developed chronic disease yet. It's good if you're lucky if you are that. No? But some smokers develop chronic conditions already when they start to smoke. No? When they decided to stop smoking. So even if that is the case, it would still have benefits. It would still have benefits for you. Okay? So this is just a graphic representation of that health benefits. Okay. So these are further benefits of health of smoking cessation this time around in terms of life expectancy. So the earlier that you stop, the more the gain in terms of life expectancy. So kung at about 30, you stop, you gain almost 10 years of life expectancy. Okay? But when you stop at about 60, 3 years na lang ang madadagdag sa life expectancy mo. In other words, if you smoke, somehow you shorten your life expectancy. Alright? But you would regain that increase in life expectancy if you stop smoking. Okay? So for children, Quitting smoking decreases the excess risk of many diseases related to secondhand smoke in children. So please protect the children, especially those who are asthmatics, those who are suffering from a persistent allergic rhinitis. No? Kawawa naman yung mga bata. Di sila nagsisigarilyo pero ang air that they breathe has cigarette on it, has nicotine in it, and other chemicals. Then they suffer the same. In terms of reproductive health, if you have couples that have infertility problems, think of cigarette smoking. So quitting smoking reduces the chance of impotence, having difficulty getting pregnant, having premature births, and babies with low birth weights and miscarriage. Alright? So baka hindi nagkakaanak dahil sa pagsisigarilyo. So you need to explore that possibility. So what are we supposed to do in order to be an advocate or in order to contribute to smoking cessation? So what we follow, what the government also follows, is this. Governments use the tobacco control measures in the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control to reduce the prevalence of tobacco use and exposure to tobacco smoke. Remember, cigarette smoking and the bad effects of it is a health concern. Okay? Epidemic nga siya na tinuturing kasi it's global. The effect of the cigarette smoking, bad effects of cigarette smoking is global. Di na nga siya nakakahawa. However, a lot of people suffers from it. So what do? We follow the recommendation of the World Health Organization, and that is Article 6. It pays particular attention to price and tax measures to reduce the demand for tobacco. No? Price and tax measures. So, ibig sabihin, if you implement tax policies and where appropriate price policies on tobacco products, the expected effect is for the price of cigarette to increase. So if it has high price, higher than usual price, then our hope is that many of the members of the general population would not be able to buy the cigarette anymore. Okay, that's what the government have implemented in this regard is the sin tax law, and the proceeds from the sin tax law are the ones being used for UHC, the Universal Healthcare Law, no? Kasi there are still people who can afford to buy the cigarette, okay? And those who are really addicted on cigarette, they really make time or make an effort to save money so that they can buy the cigarette. But at least it has deterred quite a number of people from buying it anytime. Kasi nga, mas mahal na siya than usual. So that is the reason why we have the sin tax law, the rationale for the sin tax law. And you know what? The proponent of sin tax law are doctors, no? They are the proponent for the sin tax law. Okay, they advocated for it. Another way, no, you prohibit or restrict as appropriate sales to and or importations by international travelers of tax and duty-free tobacco products. Prohibit or restrict the sale or importation of international travelers of tax and duty-free products. Remember, there are smokers who prefers imported cigarette. No? So they usually buy that from duty-free stores. No? So with the current policy now, it was mandated that these cigarettes should not be placed in prominent areas. No? Unlike before, no, nung wala pa tayong sin tax law, dun pa lang sa frontage ng duty-free, you would see liquors and cigarettes. Now they are not being displayed prominently. Restrict appropriate sales or importation of international travelers for this duty-free tobacco products. No? So they are not also they are also discouraged from buying volumes, restricted then the number of cigarettes that they can buy. Okay, so one, even if they are duty free, because of the sin tax law, they are also a little bit higher in price compared to before. All right, but now less available sila in terms of access. They should not be prominently placed. They should not and people cannot buy many of these imported cigarettes. Another article that is very important is the protection from exposure to tobacco smoke. That is Article 8. And what does it say? We should adopt and implement effective legislative, executive, administrative, and or other measures providing for protection from exposure to tobacco smoke in indoor workplaces, public transport, indoor public places, and as appropriate other public places. So the answer to that is the Republic Act 9211. Okay? So wherein we are mandated not to smoke when we are in public places, especially in enclosed areas. But you can continue to smoke in the privacy of your homes, in the privacy of your room, but not in offices, okay, where there are other people that might get exposed to you, that might get exposed to a person who smokes. Article 11 says packaging and labeling of tobacco products. Here, tobacco product packaging and labeling do not promote a tobacco product by any means that are false, misleading, deceptive, or likely to create an erroneous impression about its characteristic, health effects, hazards, or emissions. No? So these may include terms like low tar, light, ultralight, or mild. Kasi the person who would buy it might have the impression that if it's low tar or light or ultralight, it is safer than the usual cigarette. Whereas in fact, the same lang din yung kanilang magiging health effects. No? So that might be enticing a patient to buy since low tar naman siya or ultralight siya. So we are prohibited from doing that. No? And each unit packet and package of tobacco products and any outside packaging and labeling of such product also they should carry health warnings describing the harmful effects of tobacco use. And those warnings should be large, clear, visible, and legible. It should be 50% or more of the principal display areas, but shall be no less than 30% of the principal display areas. And it may be in the form or include pictures or pictograms. It may be in the form of pictures or pictograms. I am not a smoker and I have not seen a pack of cigarette for so many years already. I just do not know if this is being followed. But I do know that in advertisements there are warnings, no, that cigarette smoke is dangerous to health. So this is what I got. So I don't know if this is true in the Philippines. Do you smoke? Does anyone of you smoke? Have you seen a packet of cigarette? Ganito bang itsura ng ating mga sigarilyo dito sa Pilipinas? Do they have this kind of warning?
Ngayon po, Doc, yes po. Meron pong ganito.
Ganito talaga?
Yes po. Opo, meron po.
Alright, so sumusunod sila. Sumusunod
Yes,
sila. Bakit gumagamit ka, Ino?
Ay, hindi po, Doc. Nagpapabili po kasi yung papa ko ng sigarilyo, Doc. Ito po, nakikita ko pag ano.
Okay. Kaya nakikita mo to.
Yes
so,
po,
ano
opo.
ka? Passive smoker ka. You are exposed to.
Yes po. Na-expose din po.
Oo, so sabihan mo yung papa mo, kasi talaga naman ang pangit tingnan nito. Well, anyway, so good. So, meron pala ginagawa sa Pilipinas ito. Now, another article that tells us what to do is Article 14. It says demand reduction measures concerning tobacco dependencies dependence, all right, and cessation. So what does it mean? Design and implement effective programs aimed at promoting the cessation of tobacco use. Ito na yung paggamit natin ng counseling technique. No? It includes diagnosis and treatment of tobacco dependence and counseling services on cessation of tobacco use. No? Established in healthcare facilities and rehabilitation center programs for diagnosing, counseling, preventing, and treating tobacco dependence. In government hospitals, no, especially for DOH-retained hospitals. Ang government hospitals kasi natin dalawa. There are those under the LGU, like for example, Quezon City General Hospital, and there are those which are under the DOH, and we call them the DOH-retained hospitals, no? For example, in Quezon City, that would be your East Avenue Medical Center, Quirino Memorial Medical Center. For DOH-retained hospitals, there are smoking cessation clinics. Okay? That is an answer to this article. That is in compliance with the recommendation of the World Health Organization. For private institutions, I don't see this Wala masyadong private institution that does have this smoking cessation clinics. But this is obligatory for for DOH retained hospitals. No? And in DOH, they have this quit line, is a hotline. Quit line is a hotline that smokers can call. For the mobile-based cessation, simply text "stop smoke" and text messaging will begin support and guidance to quit smoking. Instead of Apple operators and voice, services will be available and acceptable via Smart Sun, Cellular, and Globe. So this is one way of reaching out to smokers. No? This hotline na to. I just do not know how successful they are. The proponent of this is one of our graduates. We were in an out-of-town conference when he formally informed me of this quit line by the Department of Health. He is a pulmonologist, no? Nagpakilala siya sa akin, "Doktora, estudyante niyo po ako." Hindi ko na matandaan kasi ang dami naman ng students, no? But he introduced himself and he said to me, he informed me na meron na sila nitong DOH quit line. Okay, so I just do not know how successful is this in terms of use. Now, tobacco control measures, 16% of the world's population are protected by comprehensive national smoke-free laws. If a country subscribes to the World Health Organization's recommendation, those articles that we have discussed, okay, 16% of that is protected. Now, 16% lang of the world's population is protected by these measures. Kasi not all. Only 30 countries meet the best practice for pictorial warnings. So even if there is this policy set by World Health Organization, not all countries follow the recommendation. So from those who followed, only 16% are protected. If only 30 follows the recommendation. So what can we do on our end? Activities by primary care providers to assist tobacco users to quit within 3 to 5 minutes. This is what we can do. We can advocate for smoking cessation by doing brief counseling intervention that we can do in primary care. For as short as 3 to 5 minutes, pwedeng gawin ito. Okay? So the primary purpose of brief tobacco intervention is understand risk of tobacco use and benefits of quitting, motivate our patient to make a quit attempt, and encourage those heavy tobacco users to seek or accept a referral to more intensive treatments within their community. So what are these brief tobacco interventions? Even small effect sizes can have significant population impact if they are delivered routinely and widely across a healthcare system. Alright? This is their statistics. In developed countries, 85% of the population with a primary care clinician at least once per year. Okay? Ang effectiveness of doing that is 40% of case will make a quit attempt. But look, only 2% will be successful. Okay? So in developed countries, the statistics is that 85% of the population visit a primary care clinician for smoking cessation. Mataas yun, 85%. But only 40% of that 85 will make a quit attempt. And out of that 40%, only 2% will successfully quit. So these brief tobacco interventions is somehow helpful, no? And very low naman in terms of cost kasi it would only take a few minutes of your time as a primary care provider. You can already make a difference to your patient. So what is this brief tobacco intervention? 5 A's brief tobacco intervention. Ask about tobacco use, advise tobacco users to quit, then assess readiness to make a quit attempt, assist with the quit attempt, and arrange follow-up care. So these are the 5 A's of brief tobacco intervention. This is the intervention that is being used in smoking cessation clinics in government hospitals. So this is just a detailed discussion of how to go about the 5 A's. Okay? So in asking, you are actually asking for the history of smoking. Okay? Then in advice, we are being reminded to do it in a clear, strong, and personalized manner. Clear, when you talk of strong, it should be with compassion, okay? And personalized, it's good if you can tie tobacco use to current health or illness or social economic costs, motivation level or readiness to quit, and or the impact of tobacco use on children and others in the household. Personalized means something that your patient would see in his own situation. Especially if you make use of his own family, of his own children, or of his present condition, then probably your patient would take your advice to quit if you make it personalized. Alright? And when you talk of assess, you need to look at the response of your patient to your advice, whether are they going to quit or not. So if the patient is willing to make a quit attempt, you proceed with the assist, in which you provide aid for the patient to quit. So these actions are summarized sa susunod na table. So you can assist your patient to quit. Now, if the patient clearly is unwilling to make a quit attempt at this point in time, then you need to stop here and proceed to 5 R's. So 5 A's and 5 R's. Now, if the patient is willing to undergo intensive treatment, again, you can assist the patient and refer the patient for intensive management. So if the patient is willing, all right, you need to give assistance and you need to arrange for follow-up of the patient. Now, if the patient is not yet willing, then from assessment, you proceed to 5R. So, if for a patient who wants to quit, you can start with this STAR. Set a quit date within 2 weeks. Ask your patient to tell family, friends, and co-workers about quitting and request understanding and support. Okay, you can advise your patient that to anticipate challenges to the upcoming quit attempt. And R is to remove tobacco products from the environment and make the home smoke-free. So this is an initial advice to your patient if they do decide to quit. Okay, for those who are not ready to quit, often the patient will not be ready to quit. They may not want to be a non-smoker or be certain that they could not quit. In these cases, we will deliver a brief motivational intervention before ending the consultation, and that is the 5 R's. Okay, so you start with 5 A's. If they are not ready, then you proceed with 5 R's. Ito yan. So, to the patients, the 5 R's to the patient unwilling to quit tobacco, your first R is relevance. Ask the patient why quitting is important, the risk, what are the negative consequences of ongoing habit, rewards, benefit of tobacco cessation, roadblocks, identify impediments to quitting, and repetition, repeat every time the patient comes to the clinic. So these are the 5 R's. If you are successful with this, then you return to your assist and then arrange. So these are just some of the things in detailed discussion of the 5 R's. Alright, for those who are exposed to secondhand smoke, okay, you can also encourage them to protect themselves from secondhand smoke. You can ask about their history of exposure. You can advise them to avoid the exposure, assess if they are willing to prevent that exposure. If they are willing, then you are going to assist them on how to avoid that exposure. Then arrange also for follow-up. So for those who are exposed to secondhand smoke, ito naman yung kitandaan nyo, MAD-T. For the patient willing to reduce their exposure to secondhand smoke, the following actions can be taken to the patient. Okay, can be discussed with the patient. Meet with friends at spaces in an open space. Ask family members and visitors to smoke outside. Declare their home and personal space to be smoke-free. Talk to family members and workmates. Encourage family members, friends, and workmates who smoke to stop. And advocate for comprehensive smoke-free laws or regulations in workplaces and public places. So this is MAD-T for a person who is exposed to secondhand smoke. Now, as a primary provider, you can help them with their family. If you can ask them to come over to your clinic and conduct a family conference. So in that particular family conference, you can discuss the benefit of smoking cessation, the benefit of a smoke-free environment, in a conference, in a family meeting. That way, you would be able to help your patient talk to their families for their concerns. Now, it's not easy to quit because there is such a thing as tobacco addiction. Okay, a major factor that maintains a smoking habit over time is addiction to nicotine. Okay, nicotine has been shown to have effects on brain dopamine system similar to those of drugs such as heroin and cocaine. So it gradually increases the number of nicotinic receptors in the brain. Smokers need greater amount of tobacco to bind to the growing numbers of nicotinic receptors in order to achieve the same level of satisfaction. So nagkakaroon ng tolerance, no? So that you need more alcohol, and you need more tobacco to bind to nicotinic receptors in order for you to achieve your satisfaction. Alright? That's why it leads to addiction. And once you are addicted, it's so difficult to withdraw because you might suffer from nicotine withdrawal. So nicotine increases the number of nicotinic receptors in the brain. So when receptors are empty, they make you feel uncomfortable and increase your urge to smoke. Alright? So I'm going to show you this. So later na lang. With this nicotine withdrawal, these are the symptoms of nicotine withdrawal. Alright? Withdrawal is the body's response to no more nicotine, an adjustment of the body to living without the nicotine. Withdrawal symptoms are a product of the body's physical or psychological adaptation and positively referred to as recovery symptoms. No? Kaya lang, syempre, habang nangyayari yun, there is much discomfort, and of course, the patient will also feel anxious. So, withdrawal symptoms are normally temporary, 2 to 4 weeks lang yan. With proper supportive management from the attending physician, the patient will will somehow pass through this nicotine withdrawal phase. And these are some of the treatments that we can offer our patients. We have discussed already the 5 A's and the 5 R's, which are individual behavioral counseling. We have discussed, we have mentioned quit lines, no? Self-help interventions, no? By just giving them flyers with something to read on, and then they can do it themselves, no? So not only physician does that, but also nursing, and even later on you would see the video, it's not even a nurse or doctor, counselors, no? They can do it as well. So these are some of the medications. Itong varenicline, meant to before, this is manufactured by Pfizer, but they are not anymore available in the market because we cannot prescribe this to patients who have comorbids. It increases sympathetic activity. That's why it can increase blood pressure, it can cause tachycardia. The patient suffers from dry mouth, no? So, maraming discomfort na nangyayari kaya varenicline was not successful in terms of smoking cessation. But these products that are used for nicotine replacement therapy, they are supposed to be available, but I have not seen this in our drugstores. Wala akong napapansin ganito. They are supposed to be, itong mga gums na to, mga lozenges, they are supposed to be over the counter lang, but I have not seen really. Okay, even for the nicotine patch. Okay, but these are supposed to be available. Alright. For the intensity of smoking, of this behavioral intervention, yung brief tobacco intervention, 5 A's, 5 R's, or you have the motivational interviewing technique. Both minimal, less than 20 minutes in one visit, and intensive, more than 20 minutes of visit. The physician-advised interventions effectively increase the proportion of adults who successfully quit smoking and remain abstinent for 6 months. So kahit na either 20 minutes or more than 20 minutes, there's already a success in doing that. No? It would somehow help patients to successfully quit smoking and remain abstinent for 6 months. So there is a dose relationship between the intensity of counseling and cessation rates. Duration, sabi dito, brief in-person behavioral counseling sessions less than 10 minutes effectively increase the proportion of adults who successfully quit smoking. So pinag-uusapan doon sa standard is 20, right? So even if we just do it in less than 20, kahit na 10 minutes lang yan, less than 10 minutes, meron na rin siyang may benefit na rin siya. So although less effective than longer interventions, even minimal interventions of less than 3 minutes have been found to increase cessation rates in some studies. So what they are emphasizing is the brief tobacco intervention is evidence-based. It has evidence that there are evidence to emphasize the point that doing the brief tobacco intervention counseling is successful in helping patients to quit. Alright? Even as less than 3 minutes. Frequency, multiple sessions should be provided. According to the Public Health Service guidelines, patients should receive more than 4, at least 4 in-person counseling sessions. However, cessation rates may plateau after 90 minutes of total counseling contact. So kung ang maximum nilang recommended is around 20 minutes, no? So kung apat na session yon na 20 minutes, okay na yun because that would only be around 80 minutes. Kasi beyond 90, not much success anymore. Magpa-plateau na siya. Alright? So 20, 10, or 3 minutes of your brief smoking cessation counseling or brief tobacco intervention would already benefit your patient. Kaya tamang-tama siya, talagang appropriate siya sa primary care clinic. Alright? It can be in person, telephone, or printed-based self-help materials. Okay, so who does that? Not only physicians, nurses can do that, psychologists, and even professional counselors. Alright, so you can just read on that. So what I'm going to show you now is a video of the 5 A's. See now my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes po.
Okay, so this is first the effect of smoking.
Cigarettes aren't good for us. That's hardly news. We've known about the dangers of smoking for decades. But how exactly do cigarettes harm us? Let's look at what happens as their ingredients make their way through our bodies and how we benefit physically when we finally give up smoking. With each inhalation, smoke brings its more than 5,000 chemical substances into contact with the body's tissues. From the start, tar, a black resinous material, begins to coat the teeth and gums, damaging tooth enamel and eventually causing decay. Over time, smoke also damages nerve endings in the nose, causing loss of smell. Inside the airways and lungs, smoke increases the likelihood of infections, as well as chronic diseases like bronchitis and emphysema. It does this by damaging the cilia, tiny hair-like structures whose job it is to keep the airways clean. It then fills the alveoli, tiny air sacs that enable the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the lungs and blood. A toxic gas called carbon monoxide crosses that membrane into the blood, binding to hemoglobin and displacing the oxygen it would usually have transported around the body. That's one of the reasons smoking can lead to oxygen deprivation and shortness of breath. Within about 10 seconds, the bloodstream carries a stimulant called nicotine to the brain, triggering the release of dopamine and other neurotransmitters, including endorphins, that create the pleasurable sensations which make smoking highly addictive. Nicotine and other chemicals from the cigarette simultaneously cause constriction of blood vessels and damage their delicate endothelial lining, restricting blood flow. These vascular effects lead to thickening of blood vessel walls and enhance blood platelet stickiness, increasing the likelihood that clots will form and trigger heart attacks and strokes. Many of the chemicals inside cigarettes can trigger dangerous mutations in the body's DNA that make cancers form. Additionally, ingredients like arsenic and nickel may disrupt the process of DNA repair, thus compromising the body's ability to fight many cancers. In fact, about 1 of every 3 cancer deaths in the United States is caused by smoking. And it's not just lung cancer. Smoking can cause cancer in multiple tissues and organs, as well as damaged eyesight and weakened bones. It makes it harder for women to get pregnant, and in men, it can cause erectile dysfunction. But for those who quit smoking, there's a huge positive upside with almost immediate and long-lasting physical benefits. Just 20 minutes after a smoker's final cigarette, their heart rate and blood pressure begin to return to normal. After 12 hours, carbon monoxide levels stabilize, increasing the blood's oxygen carrying capacity. A day after ceasing, heart attack risk begins to decrease as blood pressure and heart rates normalize. After 2 days, the nerve endings responsible for smell and taste start to recover. Lungs become healthier after about 1 month, with less coughing and shortness of breath. The delicate, hair-like cilia in the airways and lungs start recovering within weeks and are restored after 9 months, improving resistance to infection. By the 1-year anniversary of quitting, heart disease risk plummets to half as blood vessel function improves. 5 years in, the chance of a clot forming dramatically declines and the risk of stroke continues to reduce. After 10 years, the chances of developing fatal lung cancer go down by 50%, probably because the body's ability to repair DNA is once again restored. 15 years in, the likelihood of developing coronary heart disease is essentially the same as that of a non-smoker. There's no point pretending this is all easy to achieve. Quitting can lead to anxiety and depression resulting from nicotine withdrawal. But fortunately, such effects are usually temporary, and quitting is getting easier, thanks to a growing arsenal of tools. Nicotine replacement therapy through gum, skin patches, lozenges and sprays may help wean smokers off cigarettes. They work by stimulating nicotine receptors in the brain and thus preventing withdrawal symptoms without the addition of other harmful chemicals. Counseling and support groups, cognitive behavioral therapy, and moderate intensity exercise also help smokers stay cigarette-free. That's good news, since quitting puts you and your body on the path back to health. If you want to see more videos on building healthy habits, check out this playlist.